Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm playing again with the Monteverde Cloud Forest palette from Nomad Cosmetics. The last time I used this palette, which was actually the first time, in a video which I can card above for you, I made pretty much the most neutral look that I could have made, and that surprised me greatly. So today I wanted to dip into the brighter colors. This is what I came up with. If you want to see how I did it, then don't go anywhere. Alright, as you saw from the thumbnail, of course we are using the Monteverde Cloud Forest palette from Nomad Cosmetics, but I also have a project I'm working on. It's carded above if you're interested. It's a sort of a panning project where I'm using the next shade in whatever palette was randomly selected for me. The first palette that I'm working through is Through My Eyes from ColourPop, and I have used up through shade number 12. So today is obviously shade number 13, and that makes it, this one right here, it's called Nostalgia. Sort of a, mid-tone pink matte, very rosy. So I need to incorporate that somehow in my look today. And I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do. I know first I'm going to prime my eyes. Everything that I'm using is linked below in the description box if you're curious. I'm sitting here trying to decide which colors I want to use. I know for sure I want to use the yellow matte in the palette, so I think I'm going to start with that. It is called Toucan, and I'm going to take it with a small blending brush. I'm going to start this in my inner crease. You guys may remember that a while ago I made a video about our family dog, and I included lots of pictures of her with the children and talked about her personality and how we got her, sort of an adoption kind of story. Anyway, we had to put Tess down 2 days ago. So I think today's video is going to be talking a bit about Tess, because Tess was a great blessing to our family. Above I will card for you, and I think I'll probably put it in the description box too, the link to the video where I'm telling you about her and how we got her and how she came into our family. But she was a really, really wonderful dog. Our previous landlords had pulled her off the street, and they kept her with them in their yard with some other dogs for 9 years. And then when we moved into town, we had told them we wanted a dog. They needed somebody to dog sit her, and we just loved her so much. And they said, well, we're actually trying to rehome her, so if you want, you can just keep her. So we did. I picked up a denser blending brush, and I want the shade Orchid. I decided to go with a bright pink in the outer corner because I have that palette pull-in shade, and I wasn't entirely decided on how I wanted to use it. So I was gonna do yellow into green, but I think I'll do yellow into pink. Because why not? Life is short. Put on bold colors. We decided to keep Tess, and we had her for 3 years. So she was at least 13 years old based on the vet's best approximation of how old she was when they got her. And she was just a really wonderful dog. She had the best personality, sweet, very protective, very friendly. Everyone loved her. She loved everyone. But like I said, she was protective. And I think that if we were ever threatened, she would have jumped at whoever was threatening us, because she had a strong sense of responsibility for us. She was great with the children. We now have 3 children. One's 11, one's 2, and one's a couple months old. And she always knew when I was pregnant. She would get extra protective when I was pregnant. She would follow me around within a foot. Wherever I was in the house, she was there at my feet. At nighttime, I would see her hair sticking under the bedroom door because she had parked herself right outside of our bedroom door, and that's where she would sleep all night. And then when the children were born, she stopped following me around, and she just got within very close proximity to the children. And she was so patient. My older daughter, when we first got her, before my daughter had siblings, essentially, she would dress her up in her house coat, and the poor dog would walk around the house wearing a house coat. Oh, poor dog. Sit down. Sit. Good girl. Or my daughter would tuck her in with toys under her legs when she was laying on the floor. She was just very long-suffering. She was very, very patient. Never once did she snap at the children out of anger or frustration, even when they were doing really annoying things. I'm going to take that palette pull-in shade now. Again, it is from the Through My Eyes palette between ColourPop and I Love Sarai, and it's called Nostalgia. I'm just taking it on the same brush because why not? I'm dipping in really lightly and putting it between the yellow and pink here, so it's because it's kind of an orangey, rosy sort of tone, and I think it's going to help bridge this gap nicely, because these two colors together are already in a way creating an orange, So putting nostalgia here will just, I don't know, I have to use it somehow, right? So, my goodness. Anyway, the dog was great. She was always good with the children. She was very, very patient. She was house trained instantly because she spent her entire life outdoors. When we brought her inside, it was such a treat for her. She was always so excited to come inside. So when we brought her inside permanently, it was very special for her. And probably because she had used the outdoors as her bathroom for her entire life, she never had an accident in the house unless we had simply been gone for too long or she was ill somehow, you know, had a GI bug or something like that. Aside from that, she never went to the bathroom in the house. Potty training it was automatic. It was great. I want to deepen my outer corner just a little bit. I don't have a plan for this look. You know, at this point in my eyeshadow journey, I'm basically to the point where I think about a shade and I think, okay, that's the one that I want to use. And everything else gets built around that shade. Sometimes I think of two shades. I want to use this one and this one. How do I connect them? How do I make it work? Sometimes it doesn't work. This is a small blending brush. I'm taking Violet Sabrewing, going in really lightly because I can definitely add more to build it up, but I don't want to put in too much. I want this look to be mainly pink and yellow as far as the crease colors go, but I need to deepen the outer corner just a smidge so that when I bring in my shimmer, I don't want it to be darker than my outer corner. That's just my personal style. Everyone's got different tastes, but that's just mine. So Tess was a wonderful dog, and she was also an old dog. And over the last couple of months, I had been seeing signs that she was aging more quickly. She was slowing down. She was having trouble with her joints. You could see her, it was taking her longer to stand up. She was having trouble climbing the stairs, and then eventually she just stopped climbing the stairs. Okay, this is a pretty color. I'm going back into the pink again because, again, it's getting drowned a little bit, so I'm going to pull it further this direction. I'm just placing more on my lid space. I don't know how much the shimmer is going to cover as far as obscure the pink. So I'm laying down a bit more, maybe tapping more into the crease as well, and just bringing more pink into the look so that it doesn't get drowned out by everything else. So Tess was slowing down, and I had started telling my daughter she's getting old, she might be getting sick, and we might need to put her down, or she may just die in her sleep. I had found a couple of lumps on her, but Tess never seemed to be in pain. She was still eating and using the bathroom quite normally, so we were just watching her, you know. With my finger, I'm going into this Magical Mist shade. It does seem like a light topper. In the pan, it looks kind of like a soft silvery blue. And I want to put this on my lid, so I'm putting it. Let's see how that looks. It might not be enough. Okay, so that's not showing up amazing. It is a little bit thinner, more like a topper shade. So I think I'm going to take my finger and take Wildlife Wonderland instead. Yeah, this one looks a bit more opaque, more of an opaque green shimmer. I'll put that on my lid space on top of the shimmer I just laid down. I want to bring in more color. So we were just keeping an eye on Tess, and she started to have accidents around the house, which I knew was a sign. Then last week I took her to the groomer, and when I loaded her up into the back of our minivan, this is a flat brush, but it doesn't have any product on it. It's dry and clean. I'm just using it to kind of work the edges and soften them a little bit. When I loaded Tess into the minivan to go to the groomer, she was fine. She jumped up with her front legs, and then I grabbed her body, picked up her back end, and loaded her in. But when we came home from the groomer to put her back in the van, she couldn't jump up with her front legs. She sort of looked at the back of the van and kind of hesitated and then backed up a little bit. And I was thinking, okay, well, maybe, again, she's old. Maybe this is just difficult for her based on the angle of the parking spot and whatnot. So I grasped around her body to pick her up, and she cried out in pain. So much so that I sort of dropped her and stepped back a little bit because she'd never done that before. And of course I didn't want to hurt her, but she had to get into the van. Like, we had to take her home. Again, I had to grasp around her and pick her up to load her into the van, and she cried out again. I got her in the van, like it was just one, like, we need to get you loaded. But it did hurt her, and I felt bad. I think I want to take my finger and grab River Trail, which is a purple shimmer, and put this right on the edge of the pink. Just wanted to see what it would look like here. That's pretty. So we got home, and then Tess had to get out of the back of the van. When she jumped down, she cried out in pain again. So that was 3 times when it had never ever happened before. So I knew that something was hurting her. Anyway, I wasn't sure, but I talked to the groomer, and the groomer said, no, nothing happened. And I trust the groomer. And she didn't have any signs of injury. Again, it wasn't in her legs. It was something. I'm going to quickly whip some color on my lower lash line. Small blending brush going back into Toucan, and I'll put this on my inner corner and the lower lash line, like the lower half, I think. The groomer visit was about last week, and Tess acted like herself. She was eating and drinking normally. She was using the bathroom normally. Until yesterday. Yesterday I was sitting in my living room, and we have mainly carpet. Well, it's all carpet downstairs, except for right at the doorway there's a bit of linoleum. And I heard sort of a scuffling sound on the linoleum, and I looked over and I saw Tess coming around the couches, and she kept falling. She couldn't support her weight on her back legs. She just kept collapsing and like falling into the couch. Then she'd get up again, and then she'd collapse again. And I'm like, oh, this is probably it, because that was completely new behavior, and it was not a good sign. For the rest of my lower lash line, I'm going back into my palette pull-in shade Nostalgia. Same small blending brush. When she started to show signs of generally getting older and slowing down, I had been praying that the Lord would make it very clear when it was time, because I didn't want it to be this big, long, drawn-out thing. I didn't want her to be in pain for months and months and us not know about it. I didn't want her quality of life to diminish. She was a wonderful, loving, happy dog, and I wanted that to be her story until it was time to go. And it was. So as you may have guessed, as the afternoon wore on, Tess' condition just deteriorated further. At first she was unable to support her back end, but then over time she wasn't able to even support her front end either or pick herself up. My daughter had come downstairs from playing, and I told her, I think we have to put Tess down tonight, which was quite shocking for her. But again, we had all been praying that it would be very evident when it was time. Tess sort of parked herself by the door at the back of the couch. We were all crying a bit, but my daughter cried a lot, and she was hugging her and kissing her and just snuggling with her and giving her lots of attention and love. And Tess initially had been sitting on her haunches, standing straighter on her front legs, and over time she just got weaker and weaker, and she ended up slumping against the side of the couch and couldn't support herself. It was time. So we all said goodbye, and we prayed and we thanked the Lord for giving us such a wonderful pet, and we thanked Tess for her loyalty and her faithfulness and her protective instincts, and how she had always worked to make sure that we were safe, and it sort of gave us all closure. And then my husband took her away. So that was that. My daughter cried. There were more tears, but at the same time she did a really good job, and the little one could tell that people were a bit upset, and so she got a little clingy and was cuddling up with me for the rest of the evening. We had dinner and we watched a movie while we ate dinner. I think we watched Pride and Prejudice maybe, or Camelot or something. I don't know. We started to watch something to get particularly my older daughter's mind off of things, and that helped cheer her up a bit. I am just really grateful that the Lord made it clear. It's time to go. It wasn't long and drawn out. We didn't think that she was in pain. We didn't think that she was struggling or living an unpleasant life. We wanted her to be happy all the way up until the end, and I really do think she was. She was a wonderful dog. So we're grateful that we had Tess in our lives for 3 years, and I'm glad that I could share with you guys how we got her. Again, check out the video if you're interested. It's carded above. It's also in the description box if you want to know more of her story and see more pictures and whatnot. But anyway, let me tell you how I finished off today's eye look. In my waterline, I used a dark green color because I wanted to tie in somehow to my shirt. This is the shade Canopy from ColourPop. On my lips, I'm wearing NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Bit of Honey, and then I topped it with Cosmic Click from ColourPop's Lip Oils. Say that 5 times fast. And then on my face, I have the Milani Luminoso blush. This is the shade 901. It's actually a really, really beautiful peach. And even though I don't wear much blush, I think I'm coming to the realization that I prefer more peachy tones over more pink tones. And I think that's because I use very little face product to even out my skin tone or anything like that. I pretty much put a bit of concealer under my eyes so that my eyeshadow will pop more, just be a bit more of a cleaner look. And that's about it. Again, if you want to know what I use, it's all in the description box. There's very little as far as face products. And so when there is discoloration in my skin or imperfections or flaws, they're usually more pinky based. Adding in a pink blush on top of that, which I don't try to conceal, I feel like it just makes me look red-faced. So I am really enjoying this color. This is more peach. It's really quite pretty. And then I have the Nomad Positano Sunrise highlighter on my cheekbones, and that's everything. I have some mascara. I didn't have time to do a winged eyeliner because my daughters are waking up. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please comment below. Tell me about your family pets. Tell me their names. Tell me what breeds they are, what kinds of animals they are. Maybe you have horses, maybe you have cats, maybe you have gerbils. I don't know. I just would love to hear about your pets. So thank you for being with me. I hope you'll consider subscribing, liking this video if you liked it, and I'll see you guys again really soon in my next video. Bye!